Michael Chandler is an idiot. And I don't know how he can't see what the UFC is doing to him right now or how they're playing him a little bit right here. But hopefully, on the back end, he's getting paid. He paid well for the path they're putting him on and the role they're putting him into. But sometimes it's hard for fighters to see, when they're getting played necessarily or when they're getting used. Like, yeah, when you're getting used. Like, somebody can't see when the fighters, when the UFC is or organizations are using them to build up other fighters or using them to get a fighter on a downtrend that they love to get back on the winning side of things, or see you as a tailor-made opponent for this fighter to look good, or etc. etc. A lot of times they can't see that because they have egos of their own, and of course their gym like, oh, I see he's still a good fighter, he's this and that, he's still one of the best guys here, he's still a team captain, etc. etc. They still see all these things, but yeah, hopefully someone around him is giving him a good viewpoint, a good outside look. Because a lot of times the coaches can't see it, the fighters around you can't see it, like your training partners can't see it. But hopefully he sees it, and hopefully he's making the money for it. And honestly, there's not really anything else he could do. So hopefully he got paid well, and hopefully he got a good contract, which I think he did. But I think at this point he should be asked for, I guess, a little bit more money based on what the UFC is trying to do to him and has been trying to do to him for probably a couple years now, especially since the Conor McGregor fight was first announced, or potential Conor McGregor fight was first announced. But even by that point, yeah, when that fight was announced, he was clearly being used as a tool to get Conor McGregor back on the winning side. And I don't know if Conor McGregor was just a coward or whatever the case may be, and he don't feel he could beat anyone. Not to say that Michael Chandler's a bad fighter, he's not. But I do think that Michael Chandler is a more winnable fight for him, or one of the most stylistically winnable fights for him, in all of the lightweight division, especially given that Chandler is still highly ranked. And that's another thing. Chandler has lost all these fights. All he did was beat like an old Tony Ferguson, who shouldn't have been ranked in the first place. I don't know if he was ranked. Dan Hooker, who did have a ranking, was deservingly ranked at the time. That was a big win for him. But outside that, he hasn't really beat no one to still be. I think he's still top 15 in the UFC for whatever reason in the lightweight division. But the reason he's lightweight ranked there, because so they can use him. It's all a part of the mechanism to play, so they can again make Conor McGregor look good if that fight would happen. Conor McGregor beats him, knocks him out. Oh, he knocked out a guy who was number 7 in the lightweight division. Conor McGregor's still it. He's still this. He's still the man. And then give Conor McGregor $400 million for his next fight because he beat Chandler, knowing that they see the stylistic matchup, they see the angle, and it was a matchup, a made to order almost matchup for him. Like basically just giving him the Chad Mendes fight again. It's just the Chad Mendes fight, but at lightweight. That's really all it is. And if anything, I feel Chandler's defense is worse than Chad Mendes. And obviously he's slow. He's fast and explosive, but he's slower than Chad Mendes. Mendes was a 45er. So, you got a slower, bigger, slightly bigger Chad Mendes. And yeah, it's still a tough matchup for the most part, but it was a winnable matchup for McGregor. And they also allowed McGregor to make extra plays. Or, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm not going to fight. So he could play with his head, pretty much, again, is even in the Ultimate Fighter, when he was talking about, you'll fight where I tell you to fight. So McGregor already knew the script. But McGregor's a coward, a lame a lot of times in the world. A lot of times throughout his career. So he probably still, even with all things in his hand, he could play with the matchup, get you off. I want to fight you now. I want to fight you at welterweight. I want to fight you at this weight. McGregor literally said to his face, I could choose what weight class and you'll do as you're told. McGregor has ownership in the UFC. I think now he has stake in the UFC. I don't think any other fighter has stake in the UFC like McGregor does. Definitely no one else has pull like McGregor does in the UFC, especially financially. He's the biggest star UFC ever had. And yeah, the match was made to order. And he probably couldn't even ask for more money because they have contracts. He might say, I'm doing this fight. I've seen plenty of fights Cerrone said he didn't get paid no extra money to be used by McGregor. UFC saw Cerrone get a month after getting knocked out brutally by Gaethje. They were like, "Hey, come back in here and look good. Make McGregor look good." So he pretty much in that same predicament. Maybe not is worse, but you could clearly see when, in many cases, when UFC wants to build someone off, build someone up or get someone back on the winning side. They use Cerrone, who had done a lot of things for the UFC and has always been that call guy, has always been a company man. It's yeah, be a company man again and get knocked up by McGregor, and that's what he did. He came out there again, a month after getting whooped by Gaethje and looking terrible in that fight and getting destroyed, and they just brought him right back to get knocked out by McGregor. They didn't give him no type of time to come back. And knowing that he's a company man, he jumped right back in there and did what the UFC wanted him to do, and that's get laid down by McGregor. And they were putting Chandler in a similar position. But again, I don't know if McGregor was scared, gun shy, or whatever the case may be. I know that he probably was trying to. Some of that was him trying to avoid drug testing because you saw again everything was in McGregor's favor. He's McGregor. I mean, he's Dana White's best boy, biggest cash cow, and then yeah, he could choose the weight, he could choose the time. He could I want this matchup, I don't want this matchup, I want it now, I want it here, I want it in Dubai, I want it in Ireland, I want it in Apex, I want it at 2 a.m. No, he could do whatever he wanted with that matchup. And then on top of that, they waited till USADA left, and that was all McGregor right there that USADA left. Because they saw how juiced up McGregor was. They're like, hey, we got to get USADA out of here. We want a McGregor fight. And that still was enough. McGregor at this point is controlling the UFC to some extent. As much as he can, is a fighter who has no position to really manipulate a championship. He's still manipulating the UFC a lot. And yeah, I'm not even getting to the next point, but yeah, hopefully Chandler is saying to play on him. I know he's getting paid a lot by the UFC. Maybe not as much as he should be. As a lot of these fighters aren't getting paid as much as they should be. But yeah, this a guy that's in the twilight of his career, and he's accepting the role of a blood and guts warrior. When at this point you kind of should settle down a little bit and start fighting a little bit smarter. He's kind of going the opposite route, and he knowing that he's doing this and knowing that he's trying to put on exciting fights for fans, he should be getting paid for that. He is a former world champion, a very solid, very great great lightweight. Should be getting paid for it. And now the next play they're doing on him, they allow McGregor to waste 2-3 years of his life. When he already was 34 when he came into UFC, now he was 37, 38. So waste some good years of his life where he could have some good fights. Maybe he could have had a fight against Armin Yakarin or something like that. Would have lost, in my opinion. I think anybody that's really in the title picture beats him. But again, could have had a fight like that. Had some more fights in that time span. Maybe could have got some more easy matchup. Could have got some short nosed opponents from these regional scenes, knocked them out. He could have been doing stuff. Losing to the elite competition, beating some guys they brought in for. And on his side, used him allow him to use his pool to get some easier matchups here and there, to stick in the UFC and set up future matchups and make more money. But nah, he just wasted a couple years, good years, waiting for McGregor. I don't know if he got paid anything for that. He got some tickets to some WWE, I guess, out of it. Some tickets to some NBA games out of it. And was able to call out McGregor. Or maybe he paid for them himself. But who knows? Maybe the UFC paid for them. Hopefully they did. So he could try to push the UFC more, angle for the McGregor matchup even more. He was on Ultimate Fighter as well. Probably got paid for that. Hopefully got paid well for that. But to really wrap this video up, to the next play that they're doing on him is now essentially they're giving Chandler to Bronny James. Not realistically, because obviously Bronny James is an NBA player, but what I'm saying is really Paddy Pimblett. Yeah, Paddy Pimblett is Bronny James. No relation to Conor McGregor really, but similar personality, a similar bright star. Obviously you don't feel like he's going to live up to his predecessor. Again, no relation. I think Paddy Pimblett is British or English, and McGregor is Irish, but both European fighters. Both guys with loud mouths. Both guys with a lot of tension around them. Both stars that are right, but obviously McGregor's star is much brighter. But again, it's almost a knockoff, another one of these McGregor knockoffs in a sense that Paddy Pimblett is, a loudmouth European fighter, a loudmouth young brash European fighter. And this fight, I'll be honest, Chandler's gonna lose that fight. Chandler will lose the fight, and they're bringing in Chandler because again they see that he's not able to beat anyone that's outside of that one win against Hooker. He has not been able to beat anyone that's he's been able to get in some good fights, but he has not been able to beat anyone that's truly elite outside of Hooker. So against elite competition over the past 4 years he's been in UFC, he's 1-4 against elite competition. He's 1-4 against elite competition, and over the past couple fights he's 0-4 against elite competition. So he lost to Poirier, he lost to Gaethje, and he lost to now Oliveira twice. So 1-4, and in the past 4 he's 0-4. So they clearly saying oh yeah, this is a time to give Paddy Pimblett a fight. We still have been keeping that Chandler ranking right there warmed up. So whoever we want to push up and we feel like it has a good stylistic matchup. Oh, he's like 10 years younger than Chandler. He's a naturally bigger man. His striking come along well. And yeah, like we're gonna give. It's time to push Paddy Pimblett up. He's come off a good win over Bobby Green. We're seeing just enough improvement from him. He's looking bigger. He's looking stronger. We're looking at him in the gym, and we clearly see Chandler on the downtrend, and we see the trends. And now is the time for Paddy Pimblett to come up and become a ranked fighter, and we start angling for him to get a title shot. And they'll probably even try to skip the line. Like they probably realize or feel like from their side, like Pimblett, is he ever gonna really become champion? It's possible. He could do it, but are we really on that side? No, but we do feel like we could push him up. There's not really no real interesting lightweight challengers here anymore outside of Siakarin, who's probably gonna lose again. So maybe we could angle and try to push Paddy Pimblett up, get him like a number 7, number 6 ranking, get him as far as we can get him. Just set up a matchup between him and Islam Makhachev, and then to try to sell that fight. So we could sell tickets off his mouth, his popularity and whatnot. Most likely he's not gonna become champion or not, but he'll get a title shot. He'll sell tickets. He'll bring more of those European fans to he'll bring those European dollars. Well, they don't have dollars, but that European currency, that pound, whatever they have over there. He'll bring their eyes. He'll bring their butts to seats, and yeah, that's what they're angling for. So hopefully Chandler, someone in Chandler's team, his camp knows that, and hopefully he's getting paid for it. But the point of this video, he's getting played. But hopefully he sees that. But many fighters can't see when they're getting played. Many fighters can't see the script or that they're not above the script. It's only very few fighters that have been able to beat the script. Very few, especially late in your career. It's only been a few fighters like Willie beat the script like one time. Jones has beat the script a couple times. Yeah, but like there's been a few people that have been able to beat the script. I think GSP a couple times, but yeah, very few people. It's only a very elite level that have been. Cejudo beat the script by beating Dillashaw. They wanted to get the flyweight division removed, and they sent Dillashaw down there to basically embarrass Cejudo. That's what they were expecting to do, so they could cut the flyweight division because they didn't like as much as he said he loved Mighty Mouse now. He did not show that love when it came to paying Mighty Mouse. He's like, I just want to get him gone. And so they got Mighty Mouse out of there. They were glad Cejudo beat him. And then they were like, oh yeah, Dillashaw was going to destroy Cejudo. They sent him down into flyweight, and Cejudo destroyed Dillashaw, embarrassed him, and then went up and took his belt at bantamweight as well. And yeah, so there's definitely been many times when the UFC has been trying to do things, like underhanded things to fighters. And hopefully they are able to see it and either not play into it or get paid well for it. Because at this point, is Chandler really going to be a champion, a title challenger? Not really. Unless he comes in on short notice. At this point, he's not being a title challenger again. At this point, unless he comes in on short notice, I don't feel he's not gonna be Gaethje if they fight again. He's not gonna be a Max Holloway. He's not gonna be the Armin Siakarin. Paddy Pimblett's gonna beat him. And yeah, I think anyone that's coming up, or maybe he could beat a Benoit Saint-Denis, maybe. But yeah, it's very few people he could beat, and the people that he can beat, he can't really angle those wins off to really usher himself up the division to get a title shot. Outside of like, oh, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm a company man, I'll step in on short notice, I'll take half the pay to get that title shot. And whoever's in the picture, he's not beating. If Oliveira somehow gets the belt again, which he's not going to, Oliveira beats him a third time. He's not beating Islam Makhachev. So anyone that's going to get their hands on the belt, maybe an interim belt, even an interim belt, he's not beating Poirier, he's not beating Gaethje, he's not beating Holloway. If Holloway comes up, if Ilia Topuria comes up, he's not beating Ilia Topuria. So yeah, it's not really much he can do. So he kind of got to accept it. But again, hopefully he's getting paid for it. But I don't think he fully sees what's going on. Or maybe he just accepted the company man role like Cerrone did in the past. Like Cerrone saw that he couldn't get the belt, so he was used as a mechanism, or he was used as a punching bag for McGregor to get him back on the side and some other fighters. But yeah, what are y'all thoughts on how the UFC is using Chandler or playing Chandler at this point? You feel like he's been played, or you just feel like it is what it is? And at the day, it's fighting. Like, you're supposed to be the best in the world. You're supposed to be able to fight anyone. But obviously, we know it's much deeper than just that. It's always business to this. It's a bit like Dana White will say it many times. It's a business at the end of the day. So it's clearly more than just sporting. Like they'll pick and choose sides when it's favorable to them, and the house always wins. In casino terms, the house always wins because that's how they be able to keep these glossy casinos and make these millions and billions of dollars and keep the lights on all the time and keep their pockets more than stuff. Like the house always wins. You can't go out there and physically knock Dana White and fight him and take the UFC for them or knock out what is that the name of that group, Knockout or whatever, that owns WWE and UFC and a bunch of other things, but or TKOs, whatever they're called. Yeah, you can't knock them out physically. So as far as being a fighter in the fight in the cage, you really can't ever truly beat them because win or lose, they're making money off you. So yeah, in the cage, you really can't beat them too much. You can take small victories as far as your legacy, but yeah. And I know the UFC does like Chandler, but he has definitely assumed into his role and expecting to lose to Paddy Pimblett. And again, the script is out there. Paddy Pimblett's going to beat Chandler if the fight is scheduled. Like, he wasn't able to get to be used for McGregor because McGregor has been a chicken as of late. A drug-cheating chicken as of late. But, yeah, that fight wasn't able to happen. But now they're passing on to the Bronny of MMA, the Bronny equivalent of McGregor. Not saying that McGregor's really even LeBron or anything. Maybe as far as money equivalent to UFC, yeah. But skill-wise, nowhere near LeBron is. But you get where I'm going. They give him to a McGregor knockoff to build that McGregor knockoff and try to sell some tickets. And that's about it. But yeah, the script's out there. But what are y'all thoughts? That's been the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.